verbs from the introduction of the perfect in 13 all the way through chapter 22. And it really is a mishmash of forms. Lots of prefixes, lots of suffixes. Any questions on that parsing section? Yeah, that's going to cover, the first part, that's going to be perfects, imperfects, imperatives, active participles, passive participles. Now remember, please, especially the parsing section, if you've got a participle, specify active or passive. If you've got an infinitive, specify infinitive construct or infinitive absolute. So be alert to that.
In translation?
That's, yeah, in translation, I have, as promised, given you 4 Bible texts, each of which you have translated in the course of exercises, assigned exercises. Bring a lexicon with you to class, and I'll specify the number of lookups that you can have for these verses. You will only be doing 3 of the 4, so there's a little bit of a choice there. And we talked a little bit about glosses and how they might be brought from the exercise book here onto the exam. And if I have given you a gloss, I will repeat that gloss here on the exam, with this one exception. Say we're working in an imperfect or imperfect chapter where you haven't had anything else. You haven't had imperatives, you haven't had infinitive constructs, you haven't had participles. But if I gloss in an imperfect chapter, or perfect, if I've glossed, for instance, a simple participle, because you haven't had it yet in the grammar, or any other conjugation that you haven't had in the grammar, I'm not going to gloss that again, because the expectation is obviously, when you picked up those forms, those you would easily identify. But every other category, you will have the gloss brought into the Bible text. So there you have the final, Jim.
If there are forms in which, like for instance, the second masculine singular form of the imperative, that can be both the imperative and infinitive construct, do we have to give both forms, or are we only?
No, you're only parsing it for context. Now, are you talking about on the parsing or translation?
Yeah, on the parsing.
Oh, yeah. If you give one, that's fine. Generally, what I do, if I really want both, I'll say give both forms, but I have not done that. So if you give one, you're all set.
Do we need to produce forms at all, or just do the parsing?
No, the whole first page is producing
Oh, it
forms.
is, so.
Yeah. Any others? Yes.
It seems like for producing parsing part, it seems like you're only covering nouns. So
In parsing, we're only covering verbs.
no, I'm sorry, verbs.
Yeah.
What about nouns and like stuff that we did in the past?
No, I've kind of watched your movement through that material, and while I might have liked to given an independent personal pronoun, or done one of those deals with F with a pronominal suffix, and you had to tell me whether it was the object marker or the preposition, I have a sense that everybody has tracked pretty well on that nominal